So, before we start with Disney, I'm just going to throw the approved questions away down there somewhere.
We're very excited about Stickman, but we have some questions about the chain of title. I have a show in development with my nephew, which has big similarities, and our lawyers would need to be comfortable that you actually own that idea before you sell it to us.
Very good, Orion.
Well done, Al.
Okay, no, but actually, before we start, today's a very special day for somebody in this room, and it was also a very special day for myself yesterday. 26 yesterday. So I'm just gonna fiddle around here. I figured we'd just it's lunchtime, right, David? So
Yeah.
we can have a little drink now. So I heard this is a good move with broadcasters, right? It's Morrison's own brand, in case you...
Oh, the good stuff.
Spared no expense.
There you go, Ryan, I know you like a little drop, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid not for me.
I'll just give you the bottle.
Thank you.
I think you missed the punchline of why you're pouring us the...
Yeah, best pitch ever.
Thank you. Yeah, it's David's birthday today, everybody. 27.
27. And it was your birthday.
And it was my birthday
And it's your
yesterday. And
birthday
David
yesterday.
Wright, if he's in it, and it's his birthday as well, so I just embarrass him a little as well. Okay, joking aside, welcome Disney, David Levine, Big Boss, Louise Bucknell, UK programming guru, and Orion Ross. Everything else. And knows a lot about their legal system as well, by the looks of it. So I will go back to the approved Disney questions, wherever the PR team are, and we'll start with are Disney stores open for production?
Can you put the next slide up, please?
There we go.
There we go. So the answer is definitely yes. You can see from all the logos up there, those are all shows that we've produced, co-produced, and they're all from the UK, from Europe. So we are very much open for business. We've got a lot of activity going on. We'll share some news today about that, and are very happy to speak to you guys.
Okay, and obviously, you know, Orion was very keen when he came on stage about my work. So this is what I've been working on with Disney, just in case you could see that.
So you don't want to be predictable.
Exactly. And then also in the action-adventure space, there's Stick Superhero as well. So which
I think that's more on the Warner Brothers side with the S in the middle.
Well, you can say that. I don't really listen to the legal stuff, so it's...
Is it European content?
It could well be, but what...
You think you 5211s? Or?
Not if I move to Antarctica anyway, but what I'm keen to know, because I've worked on these for ages, right? It's, you know, late nights, early mornings, and I want to know what happens once it enters the building at Disney, you know? How do you review it? What do you do to it? How long does it take? What would it be like working with you guys?
Okay, so there's a number of ways that you can work with us and also approach us. Firstly, you need to obviously watch our channels and see the kind of content that we have on Disney Channel, XD and Disney Junior. But there are a number of people that you can contact. We have Ian Lambert here at the front, who's our acquisitions manager, and he looks after EMEA and UK. There's also Orion, who looks after animation for XD, Disney Junior and DC, and also digital short form as well. We also have Paul McKenzie, who's our head of development for live action, and Christiana Nabili, who is the head of production for live action. So they're the people to approach. And when projects come into us, or programs or ideas, it can be anything. It could be an acquisition, it could be a co-pro, it could be just a very small idea. And this will be discussed throughout the company. So if you approach those people, what happens is it comes to people like me. I'm the programming director for the UK and Ireland, but I have colleagues throughout all the other territories in Europe, and we review all of this, and then we feed back all our notes and our thoughts on those projects, whether it's a yes or a no, or to take it further, and then obviously go back to the producer or the company to say, you know, sort of what the outcome is. Now, in terms of timeline, we don't have a commissioning round. It depends on sort of our gaps in the schedule that we have for the year, and we work on a yearly financial year. Our financial year goes from October through to September. So for next next year, we're pretty stocked up for next year, but we're looking beyond that. And what we do is we will look at sort of where we want to complement certain shows, or there could be a certain strategy that we want to follow. And it changes and evolves as we try to innovate and change what we're doing as we go through each year, as audience patterns change or the target of our audiences change. So it's a conversation with us, but always start with a great idea, come and talk to us. We're very, very flexible in the way that we work. And yeah, that's sort of basically what happens.
Back that up, Richard. It's really different for every project. We look at a project and figure out whether it's ready to pick it up with as a pre-buy or just put it straight into production, or whether it needs some development, whether it needs some scripting, whether it needs a pilot, whether it needs an animatic. And that's really based on where the project is and who the partners are and what we think what we think the real proof of concept for a show might be. And it might just be a script, it might be a full pilot. So there's lots of different ways that we work depending on the project and where it is.
Okay, and then as you've seen, I've obviously pitching a lot of stuff around at this event. I can see the BBC later, so I was wondering, if maybe you could share some of your sort of tips for pitching, because it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to do. So some of the things that are good, some of the things that people should steer, like myself, should steer clear of.
Whiskey's a good start.
Whiskey, is that a good start?
Yeah. Fireworks, don't use fireworks. There was a famous pitch at Disney where some of the executives were injured by the fireworks that went off.
But did they get their show picked up?
Avoid having the people that you're pitching to wind up in the hospital. That's a good. First off, do no harm.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I think generally avoid wearing the costume of the character that you're pitching. It's probably we'll get the point from the picture. You don't have to.
Pitching is really hard, and I think one of the things is that people maybe don't realize about Disney is that we do a lot of pitching internally, and we don't unfortunately have the magic wand that allows us to greenlight in the room. We've got to go back and get everything lined up. So we're pitchers too, and when you're pitching to us, you're really pitching to a fairly sympathetic audience. A pitch is both a performance and a conversation. You want somebody to be funny. If you're pitching a comedy, it should be an entertaining pitch. That's kind of basic, but it is also a conversation, and it doesn't need to be a big dog and pony show. The best pitches are both funny and genuinely engaging, and are a conversation.
What about some things to avoid? I mean, when I was in your sort of shoes, I would often get things like, your colleague in America loves this, and I'm looking at it thinking, is he on drugs or? And I think people sometimes forget that you can pick up the phone or send an email, and maybe you can throw out some things
dating,
to stick.
Right? You don't go on a first date and say, "Well, your sister thinks I'm hot." I mean, that's like you've got to win people. You've got to win people over one by one. Any production is a long-term relationship. An animated series is a very long-term relationship, and you've got to build that relationship from the first pitch.
I'd say not in the toilet or in the dinner queue. Could we sit down and eat together?
What about the buffet car on the way home?
Ooh, maybe not.
Yeah. Leave that one to Sarah then. So maybe, can you tell us a little bit about how much content is made in-house, with maybe compared to how much is commissioned?
We're not a studio.
Yeah.
So we do interstitials and short form in-house, but everything we do is commissioned or co-produced or acquired from independent companies. So we're unlike Cartoon Network in the UK, unlike our own TV animation studio in Burbank, we do not have a studio in Europe, and we work entirely with independent companies.
And even some of the short form and interstitials can also go to production companies as well, but the majority of our promotions and interstitials are made in-house, but yeah.
And what about quotas? It's something we've not really spoken about. I think Orion joked about it at the start, but is that an important area for you guys?
We don't have any genre quotas. We have our EU content percentages that we return to Ofcom every year, so we have a regulatory quota that we have. But in terms of sort of commissioning from the different genres, we don't have any set quotas per year. It's again looking at sort of what our needs are and our gaps are, so that's why we can be really flexible and open to sort of the creative that comes in, and again develop that dependent on the needs, but also sort of how it will get placed later.
Okay. And how do you identify who you want to work with? Is there sometimes you think, I really like these guys, I've seen the work they've done?
I think you'd want to go for, I think in every case we want to work with the best people for each project, so that if you want to do a cooking show, maybe you'd work with Jamie Oliver's company and get Michelle Roux Jr. on it.
That's a great idea.
If you're doing a serial drama, you might want to work with Lime. It doesn't mean the biggest company. We work with some very small companies too, but it does mean who is the best for that project in every case.
There's a nice segue there, Ryan.
Talk a bit about First Class Chef.
So First Class Chefs, we've got, Disney's got a commitment to healthy living, and we wanted to make a show that was very aspirational and positive for kids' relationship with making food and creating amazing dishes. So we went to a number of companies. Jamie Oliver's company, Fresh One, they won the commission. It's called First Class Chefs. We launched it a couple of weeks ago. We're very, very proud of this. It's doing really, really well on the channel, and also we're getting great response back from viewers through our non-linear and social feeds as well, which we've got a lot of content. And this is, as we said, it's hosted by Michelle Roux Jr. as the sort of head judge, and it's 12 teams of 2 pairs of kids, and they're going to go through competition rounds to get knocked out to get towards the finale, where they are battling it out to win £10,000 for their school to put towards a healthy living project. So it could be a herb garden or cooking equipment for their school. And what we found with this is that kids really love cooking. It's very aspirational for the audience that we're trying to target on Disney Channel, which is 8 to 12s. And we're so delighted with this programme. It's the first cooking show that we've done in the UK for the channel. So if you haven't seen it, please do check it out on the channel or on our VOD services.
There's also an animated program which I think we can talk a little bit about, right?
Sure. Let's go to the next slide. We've got just a sneak peek of a show that just went into production. It's called Counterfeit Cat. It's for Disney XD, and it is about the yellow character there is called Max, and he's a very vain and nervous and selfish house cat who's never really left his apartment and is looked after by. If you could go back to the previous slide, actually, that would be cool. Just because you want to see the old lady in the background who's called Betty. And she's a little bit blind, but she is also an action granny. She likes paintball and extreme sports and laser tag and stuff like that. And Max has been selfish and never had to worry about anybody but himself. His owner dotes on him. Suddenly he winds up having to look after a very inquisitive and very powerful and very young alien called Gark. And he disguises Gark as a cat so that Betty won't notice that he's an alien and not a cat. And Gark is the counterfeit cat. So this is Max, and just a little walk cycle. If you go to the next slides, Max is voiced by the amazing Mark Wooten, who you may remember from such great shows as High Spirits with Shirley Ghostman. Looks a little bit like Max, which is kind of cool. Next slide, please. This is Gark. So you see him on the right there, out of his cat costume, and in the left, in his cat costume. He has a lot of amazing powers that he can't quite control yet. And he kind of becomes Max's little brother, and it really is at heart a sibling comedy about, an older brother will shamelessly torment and exploit a younger brother until somebody else threatens their younger sibling, in which case they will protect them. So there's a real sibling-like relationship in the show with extreme alien characteristics. Gark, next slide, is voiced by the amazing Alex Kelly. Gark is a boy. And the next slide, please. And we also have a boy playing a lady. Kevad Novak is playing Betty and many other parts. He's a man of 1,000 voices and really brings a lot of fantastic work in the show. So this is a show that we developed in the UK with a little company in Bristol called Wild Seed. Miles Bullough and Jesse Cleverly are the exec producers on this show. It's a UK-Canada treaty co-production, but most of the work is done in the UK. Designs, writing, most of the writing, all the voices in Bristol with a new little studio and a great crew that's coming together just for this show. And it will start delivering episodes early next year and launch in 2016. It's been picked up by our US networks. It's a co-production with Teletoon in Canada. And that is a little bit of Counterfeit Cat, a UK homegrown production, which is going to be on XD around the world.
Thank you. We've spoken about what you've been doing and how to approach you and stuff, but perhaps most importantly, what is it that you're looking for?
The short answer is what we don't already have.
So I think a good answer for that is on the live action side. We have a great pipeline of content that comes from the U.S. It's mostly sitcoms. We know that the audiences in the UK and Europe like those shows, love those shows, but they also like other formats. We've had a lot of success so far throughout the region with a show called Violetta, which is a telenovela. And so we're also looking to develop more live action and more dramatic type programming here in the UK. So last year we produced a 4-part miniseries called Evermore, and so we've commissioned a 20-part additional season of Evermore called the Evermore Chronicles, which continues the story. This is a show that was created by a British company, Lime Pictures, who you might know from Hollyoaks and other shows, and so we've also begun pre-production on a new live-action series. We're doing something that's new for us. We've never quite done this before. We're taking a long-form show that was produced in another market, a show called North Star, produced in Disney Channel Israel, and remaking it in English for the European audience. We're also going to be adding some additional musical elements to it. This is going to be produced by the Foundation, part of Zodiac. We're looking at different areas at which to film it at. Be filmed at somewhere in the UK, and Evermore Chronicles and now this North Star remake are really possible because of the tax credit that was introduced, and it really was able to unlock our strategy for live action production. So, we look at ourselves as a new player in that arena, a bit of an upstart, I suppose, in terms of our production pipeline. But it's something that we're very committed to, and we look forward to getting more pitches and developing more ideas to be able to fill the pipeline. So that's definitely, if you've got a show that you think could work for us, please reach out to Paul McKenzie. He's here somewhere, and we'd love to talk to you.
Thanks very much, David. I think, although I've got plenty more questions that I could ask you, I'll just find you later at the Weatherspoons or whatever for your birthday and get you there. So we've got a few minutes left. I'm assuming people in the audience would like to ask Disney some questions. Steve, have you got a question? From the world of the internet.
The Twitter feed. Is that what they called it nowadays?
Yeah, let's do it.
Twitter feed.
Embrace technology.
It says here, can creatives come direct to you to share ideas, or do you prefer to meet with producers? And it's from Iris Licensing. So obviously they're a creative company.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sorry, yeah, I'll do it slowly this time. Hi. Can creatives come direct to you to share ideas, or do you prefer to just meet with producers?
Both, actually, absolutely both. Absolutely both. Especially, I think in all parts of the house, on the live action side and on the animation side, we love creator-driven shows. We love someone that's got an idea, that has a vision. So certainly, a creator can come to us. On the other hand, linking up with a production company that can help put your vision together is certainly something that would benefit you as well. We are looking at a range of formats. We actually have another new show that we're going to be producing. It's called Access All Areas. It's a magazine type show. It's an entertainment factual show which will be running beginning at some point this summer. Bringing in all sorts of different pop culture, music, talent, movies, gaming to the Disney Channel audience. So we're really committed to producing new formats, new shows, new content here in the UK. As I said, we'd love to speak to you. So either way, as a creator or as a producer.
And I think what's unique about us is we're a real global community. So if you approach any one of us, your idea or your program will get sort of sent to all those people internally, and we'll do that legwork and then come back to you. So it's just, as we said, approach one of us. And it will always get reviewed, and not just by the UK, but by EMEA and also globally as well.
Thanks, guys. Anybody else? I think we've got time for one more, maybe two more. I can't see anything.
Hi, can I just ask about the jump in Evermore from 4 parts to 20? I'm assuming that's partly as a result of the tax breaks. Are you commissioning in that kind of volume when you're looking for a new series, and how many sort of scripted series can you sustain when you have a series of that length?
We look at different formats and look at different lengths in terms of what makes the most sense for the particular story, what works for the production, specifically. We don't have particular volumes in mind, particularly because there's all different kinds of funding models, et cetera. So I wouldn't want to limit us to a particular number, but we are looking to put several series into production at once. So we have Evermore Chronicles, and then we have North Star coming up. So already we've got 2 that are currently in production, and we're looking for more.
Okay. I think that basically will sum it up for us then. And maybe we could say thank you very much to Disney and everybody else.